Hey there, Skeletor here. Welcome back to the comic book haul. And today we're looking at Rat City number 5, Ultimate Spider-Man number 8, Predator vs. Black Panther number 1, DC Rebirth Green Lanterns number 11. So this week I only meant to pick up Ultimate Spider-Man number 8 and Spawn Rat City number 5, but then I found something extra, and when I went to go check out, my local comic book guy tossed in an extra little freebie. DC Universe Rebirth Green Lantern Phantom Lantern number 11. We're gonna go again, like usual, with the lowest rated one on the spot, and that's gonna be DC Rebirth's Green Lanterns. I did not mean to pick this up. I bought my normal stuff, and then unbeknownst to me, my local comic book shop dealer tossed in a free comic, because why not? It's from the Rebirth era, so I mean already it's old. We are past Rebirth at this point. The only thing older than this that he could have given me with an actual title probably would have been New 52. Which, honestly, I probably would have preferred. Not that I'm blaming him or anything, but, let's take a quick look. This is issue number 11. We're just gonna jump right into it. And, side note, oh my god, Pow Sock Bam, Batman is back. Batman, Return of the Caped Crusaders. I actually have that one on DVD. That's how old this is. I have this on DVD. There might be a video coming on that in the near future, but we'll get back to that at a different point. So there's some random new Green Lantern named Frank, and he's just... I'm pretty sure this is before the Boys TV show, so I'm not gonna say this is outright based on Homelander, even though technically Homelander predates this, but basically Green Lantern Homelander flying around. He actually does save a kid and his dog. He's a very unhinged individual. The two Green Lanterns at the time, who for the life of me I can't remember the names of, but little Mexican girl who has panic attacks and a black guy who used to be in prison, but now they're both Green Lanterns. They show up to deal with Homelander. It's not really Homelander, but come on, you know what I'm talking about. The civilians he saved show up to protect him. You know, they have a little talk, and I mean, look at this page right here. Come on, look at that. Tell me there's not something going on with this guy. Either the artist is like on some shit, or this character is secretly Plastic Man. Like, nobody's face does that. He has a little freak out and turns into what I'm going to call the Ghost Lantern, I guess, because I mean, technically that's like the name of the story. I have no idea where this fits into the Lantern Ring, because I know the green one is willpower, the red one is anger, the white one is, I don't know, hope or spirit or something. I don't know, each colored ring correlates to something, so I have no idea what translucent black is. The ghost ring, I don't know. I don't know, it's not explained in this issue. Personally, I really don't care about the Green Lanterns at all. At the very end, he turns into I think that's a Red Lantern? Phantom Lantern? I don't know. I honestly do not know. I do not care. We are way past Rebirth, and this son of a bitch has never come back up. So I'm gonna go ahead and say it's irrelevant. It felt like a chore to read this, which is really messed up because this was a gift. So you gifted me with chores? Oh, and hey, look at that. Suicide Squad, the extended cut, is now available on Blu-ray and digital HD. Look at that. It even says damaged on his forehead. That's how you know it's gonna be a good movie. There's no way this thing is gonna flop. Everybody, you should get out there to the theaters and watch Suicide Squad. Anyway, moving out of the far distant past, not counting the freebies, I'm gonna say the Spawn universe, Rat City, is probably the lowest rated. On a scale from 1 to 5, By the way, Green Lantern was a 0 out of 5. We're just gonna leave it there. 0 out of 5. Rat City. You know what? At the very least, it's interesting. To be honest, if I wasn't picking this up for somebody else and then reading it before I gave it to him, I probably wouldn't have picked up this issue. Like, usually I give something 2 to 3 issues or episodes before I make a final judgment. Rat City had me with that. You know, they caught me well enough on that 3rd one. I was willing to pick up the 4th. The 4th didn't really do anything for me. And it's not that I'm here for straight up superhero shenanigans. I'm looking for an actual plot. And while there is one here, there's very little in terms of plot movement. It's kind of an issue, not in a good way. This one opens, quote unquote, many years ago. We get the main doctor and his stooge. He hires the stooge. Actually, we're gonna back up 2 seconds. Rat City. The script is by Erica Schultz, and the art is by Z Carlos. Look, you put the little apostrophe thing on top of the E. I don't know what the hell that means. It's either Z or Zay, but Schultz and Carlos. That's who we're looking at here. Long story short, we get a quick flashback of the, what we thought was the main bad guy. Who we thought was the bad guy is being hired by a much higher on the ladder bad guy. Long story short, you're doing great work with nanotechnology, but if you want to work for me, we need to stop curing people, because curing people means they're not going to be returning customers. This entire issue feels like something out of Spider-Man 2099. Corporations run everything. Everything comes down to the bottom line of the profit. Why would we ever make a cure when we can just make you sick and have you keep coming back for temporary antidotes? That is this issue in a nutshell. In modern day, we return to where we were at. Honestly, not much happens. We reveal that the scientist is just trying to take Spawn alive. Well, the scientist was trying to take the chick alive, but then he realizes Spawn is there and he's like, hey, is your suit nanotechnology? How'd you get it? I want it. Give it to me. Also, side note before I move off this page, look at this guy. His entire chin and lower lip are like little robotic arms. What is going on with this guy? Like, I understand you're trying to come up with cool designs for these people, but like, I'm sorry, I kept reading this and looking at it and imagining, like, what if my bottom lip was just robot arms? I'm sorry, what are you doing here, design-wise? Like, what are you doing? We explain how the blackout wasn't his fault, but the scientist was trying to track the chick and inadvertently found Spawn. He pops a shot off into a random direction that isn't them. Like, honestly, if you're pointing a gun directly at two people, why would you fire off into a random corner of the room? And why would that random corner of the room start giving everybody weird acid trip hallucinations? Like, for real, this first page, we're good. Second page, by the second to final panel, everything's getting all wavy. Trying to figure out what's going on. And then everything just gets all acid trippy. And both of these characters turn into, I think it's Malbrosia. I don't know, the big demon guy from the original Spawn stuff. Spawn, his Spawn's cape wraps around his arms, turns into weapons, he slices and dices. And I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that none of this is happening, because suddenly we cut to him just sitting on the floor with his cape all, like, spiky. And it almost pierces this chick's eye. But her and the scientist try to get out of the way, and suddenly Spawn has killed the scientist. Whether he did this on purpose or because he's imagining that the scientist is a demon, who knows? Like, apparently we're gonna have to wait till next issue to find out. You know, I think the biggest issue with this is, what is this, like 10 pages? Holy shit, I'm not even making that up. That is 10 pages. For $2.99, I can't really be that upset at 10 pages worth of content. But in terms of storytelling, like, you're not getting enough plot across in 10 pages. We're on issue 5, and if this was a major comic book company, we would be like, all of this would have been covered, and we'd be on maybe issue 3. 5 issues in, and we have covered the amount of ground that a normal comic would have covered in maybe 3 issues. Which is really saying something, because issue 1 took up the most story time, and it was the most amount of nothing happening. Right here now, I'm going to say if I was not picking this up for a friend, I would drop this. You know what, I will say, there's a chance that once all of this has been released into like a hardcover, I'd pick that up and read it all at once. But month to month, Rat City is kind of a letdown. The cover art looks great. Unfortunately, that seems to be about all it has going for it. Even though as a whole, as a story, you know, 5 issues in, I'm gonna say 5 issues in, a solid 3 out of 5. This particular issue, this is like a 1. I would say I'm wasting my money, but for how cheap it is, questionable. But at 10 pages of content, that is questionable. I'm gonna put that as a serious 1. You know what, let's just talk art real quick. The art is actually really good. I'm enjoying the art. It's solid. You can tell what everybody is. You can tell where everything is. Whenever there's some slight change in the character's design, it's not arbitrary or because the art is fucked up. Like, I mean, the Spawn suit is always kind of flowing and changing no matter what iteration you're looking at, so I'm willing to forgive quite a lot in this as far as Spawn himself. But everybody looks the way they should, you know, from one issue to the next. So, a solid 1. Not a half, not a 1.5, just a solid 1. Next up, we have Predator vs. Black Panther, number 1. Personally, I picked up the variant edition cover. The regular cover wasn't bad, but I don't know, something about like the sketch designs just grabs me. Doesn't matter if it's Predator or something else. If you've got a variant cover with sketches, I'm gonna have to pick that up. I love the behind the scenes art stuff. I'm an art guy, so this grabbed me. And if you'll notice in the corner, this is in co-production with 20th Century Studios. Also, I'm hoping this is, I honestly, at this point, with how screwed up the Alien franchise is, I have no idea what is or isn't canon to the Predator franchise outside of the first 2 movies. I guess you could argue that 3rd movie is also in canon. And Prey. Okay, so 4 movies. Actually, Prey doesn't break canon at all. Prey 1, 2, and Prey are perfect movies. That 3rd one is questionable. Oh god, I forgot there was a 4th one. Oh, they were hunting down autism. Oh, I forgot about that. Oh, that... Okay, that's how bad of a movie that was. I forgot that existed until I really tried to think about it. Also, we're not counting Alien vs. Predator. That is its own separate thing. In every iteration, that's not even me being nitpicky. Like, literally, that Alien vs. Predator contradicts every Alien movie and every Predator movie. So, we're just not gonna count that. So, look, this is one of the first times we get a look at the Predator homeworld. We are in the Wolf Star Nebula. The hell if I know what planet that is. They never actually say it, but there's this super pyramid triangle thing, world ship, I guess, floating around this random planet. In it, we see the leader of the Yautja, which are the Predators, and I absolutely love that his throne is made out of the skeleton of some much larger thing it has killed. Like, that is on brand for the Predators. The throne room is one giant museum of all the cool shit I have killed. I fucking love that. And given that earlier in this year we had Wolverine vs. Predator, which acted as a prequel to the Weapon X situation, it didn't break canon, it didn't make canon, it's its own little story. It did make canon, but if for licensing reasons we were to cut Predator out of the Marvel Universe, you could have the whole Weapon X program without him. If you kept the licensing, okay, there you go. Predator is the reason Wolverine had that weird helmet during the fucking Weapon X program. That said, some of the skeletons in here, I'm gonna chalk this up to the art. Something, I don't know, the shading on some of these things seems like things are shinier than they should be. So some of the bones in these cases make me think, oh, it's adamantium. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. But the leader of the Alcha has this great little spear. It's not little, it's actually pretty freaking big. The leader of the Alcha has this spear, and they don't tell you right away. But the way they describe it, it absorbs and expels kinetic energy, vibranium. It's vibranium. He's got a spear made of vibranium. And he's also got two sons who, one has blue head tattoos and the other has red head tattoos. Also, the red tattooed one has a robotic leg. The blue one is the chief's favorite. The red one isn't very strong, but he's cunning. And he decided, hey, I'm going to challenge my brother to a hunt and a fight, and whoever wins gets to take Dad's throne. And, you know, they did their thing, and the blue one just completely humiliated the hell out of the red one, and the red one was like, I was prepared for defeat, so I hid a ship under the lake that we would be fighting over, and it's gonna take me to Earth. Because you only won because of this stupid spear. Dad gave you the spear, and you won because of the spear. So I'm gonna go find the source of the spear, vibranium, on Earth, and you know, I'm gonna hunt that down and make my own spear or weapon or whatever. And also, I'm gonna kill everything that gets in my path. Also, it turns out the red one, I mean, we've seen this in other Yautja. I want to say, at the very least, the first movie, he had one arm with this. Second movie, he might have had two. But the two claws that pop out of the wrist. Apparently, while most Yautja use those as like an outer body weapon, like that's something you attach to your wrist and they pop out, the red motherfucker went through some kind of weird experimental program and added that stuff under his skin. So he can just pop out Wolverine bones. And I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, given the time period for all this, the Yautja saw Wolverine doing this and incorporated that into their arsenal. Because that is literally the point of the Yautja. They find the best offensive thing they can from some random species and they incorporate it into themselves, which, not to keep harping on things, but that pulls back to the whole entire plot of the fourth movie, where it turns out autism is the next step in human evolution, and thus the predators come to Earth in order to acquire autism so that they can better themselves. I shit you not. I shit you fucking not. I'm getting sidetracked. That fourth movie should have never been made. Point is, the red guy has Wolverine claws, he sets himself free, he pulls up his ship, and they head to Wakanda. Well, technically they head to Earth first. The Yautja are not smart individuals. They are not a smart people. If you created space travel and you have been hunting multiple worlds and succeeding, you don't need autism. That is not the next step in whatever evolution you're trying to get. Just stop it. Knock it off. Turns out, at the same time that this is going on, the Wakandan Guard, both the White Panther looking guys and the Dora Milaje, are having a little hunt bet. Whoever can chase down and tag the Black Panther doesn't have to do guard duty for a whole month. I mean, you know what, if we take all the Predator stuff out of the story, and we take all the, you know, everything else out, you know what, that's not bad. That's not a bad, like once a month, you get to go chase down your king or your protector, whoever, you know, like, you know what, fuck it, let's use America as an example. Once a month, you get to chase down a police officer, and if you manage to tag him, you get to commit whatever crimes you want for a whole month. But God help you if he tags you. See, in this, if the Black Panther tags you, you get teleported back to your ship. You get teleported back to starting point. I don't know how that would work in real life. Like, hey, I'm trying to commit some crimes. If I tag a police officer, I can do what I want. If the police officer tags me, I guess I go to jail. I don't know what the real world equivalent of this would be, but this is interesting, at least, you know. But it kind of seems as if maybe one of the White Panthers got taken out. But nope, it's just Black Panther coming down out of nowhere. He's about to fight the Dora Milaje when suddenly his suit gets hacked and he's like, oh no, what's going on? Why is my suit going away? What's happening? Because, you know, the Black Panther suit is basically just nanotechnology, kind of like MCU Stark. Personally, I think that's bullshit, but whatever. It turns out that it's because of Shuri. He chases after Shuri, only to be met with one of their mystics, Magi Kina. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm sorry that there's no, I don't know what to do with that. But he's like, hey, stop your fighting. I got a story for you. And then we come back to the Yautja. They have reached Earth, and you know, using their sophisticated predator technology, they're able to immediately locate Wakanda, because Wakanda apparently uses the exact same cloaking technology that the predators do. The only difference is that the predators have only ever used that technology to cloak an individual person or a ship. Wakanda is using it to hide an entire nation, which means they stick out like a sore thumb. The Yautja, the predators launch all their weapons, doesn't do anything to the shield around Wakanda, but turns out, because they're on the same wavelengths, they can just hack the field and force their way in. The Magi gives a very cryptic message, which I feel like could be something related to COVID-19 or monkeypox, or possibly something yet to come. Like, hey, everybody outside of Wakanda is getting screwed up, and you could save them, but you're choosing not to. And there's this whole big debate between Shuri and T'Challa where it's like, hey, we could send them vibranium. No, we're not gonna send them vibranium. Maybe we'll send medical aid and we'll donate some funds. No, but for real, we could send them vibranium. Yeah, no, we're not gonna send them vibranium. Like, I don't know. I'm a protector. I don't really, like, if we send out vibranium, everyone's gonna, like, lose interest in us, because that's literally all we have is vibranium. As this talk is going on, the predators are scanning T'Challa, and they're like, holy crap, this dude's suit is made out of vibranium. It is woven out of this stuff. Alright, so we need to kill this guy and peel him out of this suit, and then I'm gonna wear this suit. The birds, the animals in the area, they're like, oh god, something's here. Something's going on. Something's here. Black Panther notices, he takes off, and then he realizes, like, hey, the birds were flying up and then they hit something, like their necks snapped and they just dropped. You know why? Because there's an invisible ship hovering here. That's why the birds crashed into it and died, because they couldn't see the friggin' wall. Except, you know, T'Challa doesn't realize that part. He just knows, like, hey, the birds hit something, and then they stop moving. And then a couple of the predators blast him out of the air, and he falls into a pit of mud, or quicksand, and just sinks. And the first issue ends with Shuri's team dipping out of the dome to go help people. And the Yautja realize, like, hey, they use the same basic technology we do. We can just take control of the dome over the entire continent. Now that Shuri has left, let's close it and not reopen it. So when she tries to re-enter, boom, kablam, dead. I guarantee she's not dead, but they're just doing this for the sake of, like, cliffhangers. And we get a final page of the Dora Milaje moving through the forest as the Yautja hunt them from the trees. As far as first issues go, this had everything I was looking for. Honestly, I was a little worried. Every time I pick up something Black Panther related, it's full of racism and what's the term? Racism and politics and, hey, we're Wakandan, so we're better than you, and you kind of just need to accept it. There wasn't any of this time around. It was a very simple setup. I understand we can't escape some of the politics, hence Shuri and Black Panther arguing back and forth on whether or not vibranium can help the rest of the world and whether or not their role should be to protect the vibranium or, you know, spread it out amongst the world. Meanwhile, the Yautja show up trying to steal the whole kebab. As far as first issues go, I'm gonna say a 5 out of 5. This is, I'm gonna say this is a 5 out of 5. I know, this is hard. I don't have a lot of Predator stuff to judge this against other than Batman vs. Predator and just for the fact that we have so many pages taking place on the Yautja homeworld, I'm down. I'm 100% down. I love this. It doesn't break canon. For either character, I don't know enough about Black Panther to really give a shit, but the Predator, this fits in so well. This doesn't break canon. This is great. I 110% will pick up the next issue. Moving on. Ultimate Spider-Man, number 8. Okay, Ultimate Spider-Man. Writer Jonathan Hickman, with art by Marco Cicchetto. We get a quick forward to August of 2024. We see it's gonna be 95 in New York, 97 in Boston, 102 in Philadelphia, 102 in Washington, D.C. We also see a dresser. That stupid little black ball on it. That little stupid black ball is what Tony sent into the past, carrying a radioactive spider and a stealth suit. Peter is staring at it. Open shirt. I'm not gonna lie. It's a little weird that he's just standing there with his shirt open like that. But it does show that unlike before, he's completely ripped. So that spider really did change a lot in him, and he clearly has been swinging around a lot in the time that he has in Spider-Man, which is the one problem I have. It's implied that he's stopping a lot of burglars and he's swinging around and doing stuff. But every time we've seen him, it has been revolving around the Green Goblin or trying to figure out how his suit works. We don't really get to see him doing typical Spider-Man stuff. Also, apparently, and I didn't realize this until this issue, the black ball holds his suit in it. It's a nanoparticle kind of thing. They call a Pico suit. P-I-C-O? Pico? I'm gonna call it a Pico suit, but apparently that is the newest of the new technology that Howard Stark created before he died. So this is the most cutting edge technology. Last issue, it imprinted Peter's own personality onto it so that he would basically be talking to himself every time he needed to ask the suit a question. Kind of like how in the MCU, Peter had Karen. But when we saw that last issue, I'm like, oh, okay, so the suit's going to become jealous or something. The suit's basically going to become Venom. We're not going to get an alien Venom. We're going to get some kind of weird technology Venom. And in this issue, the ball becomes a little, I'm not going to say resentful, but the ball definitely seems to be a little jealous that Peter gets to spend time with the family even though he doesn't. We have a very brand new, very strict no costume policy at the Parker birthday parties. And the ball says, well, that's disappointing, but tell the kids I said happy birthday. Like, the suit has a mind of its own. The suit copied Peter's personality and intelligence onto itself. So there's essentially two Peter Parkers. One is a person, and one is a little black nano suit ball. And when you look at this page here, it almost looks like it's starting to grow the little Venom eyes. I'm going to go out on a limb. I know, it's not very far of a limb, but I'm going to say that the suit will eventually become Venom. Probably further down the line after the whole Ultimates thing gets solved. But I'm going to go on a limb and say that his own suit will become Venom. And he's going to have to make his own cloth one eventually. Because this entire time he's been running around in a nano suit. Honestly, the whole situation gets a little creepy. And then we jump back to last issue. The very end of last issue, Iron Man showed up. And now we're back to that. Iron Man shows up and he's like, hey, you guys heroes yet? Spidey's like, no. Green Goblin's like, who are you? And Iron Man's like, who the hell are you? Spider-Man was on the list. Green Goblin is not. Who the hell is the Green Goblin? Green Goblin's like, what list? What are you talking about? We have access to all of Stark's files. What list? And Iron Man explains that when the Maker rebuilt this universe from the ground up, there was a short list of heroes that needed to be eradicated. Otherwise, this wasn't gonna work. Spider-Man was one of them, and I mean, look, compared to all the other heroes who could have been on the list, Spidey isn't that great. The only thing that really sets him apart is the spider sense. The ability to sense danger before it actually happens. I'm gonna go and say that is why the Maker wanted Spidey eradicated. I might be able to fool you, but I can't fool your spider sense. I can fool the Hulk, I can fool whoever the hell else I want, but Spider-Man's gonna know what's up. So I need to take them, I need to take him off the field early. And Goblin's like, well, where am I on that list? And Iron Man does the whole thing where like, oh, my suit interacts with your suit because we're both Stark tech, so I can do whatever I want to your suit. Removes Goblin's helmet, and he's like, oh, you're Harry Osborn, yeah, you're not on the list. You don't matter. You're not a part of this. Harry gets pretty pissed off about this. Iron Man flies off. And side note, personally I'm a little glad they got rid of Iron Man's little skirt thing. It just didn't look great on him. I'm still not a fan of the square armor shoulder pads, but you know what? You got rid of the skirt. I'll be happy with that. Pretty much the rest of the issue is the kid's birthday party. I should say Peter's kid's birthday party. Ben invited J. Jonah Jameson because he's worried that JJ might be kind of, you know, lonely and wants to hang out with people. They try to recruit Peter to the Daily Bugle, and he's like, I'm not saying no, but like, I need insurance and money, and I'm not sure you guys can provide that. And Uncle Ben's like, no, you're gonna work for us, and you're gonna tell MJ you got a raise. Okay, cool. We get to the kid's birthday party, and this one I think is just an Easter egg and not an actual thing, but who knows. The arcade is run by a kid or a man, it's hard to tell, with red hair. That's the X-Men's arcade. That's what we're dealing with in Spectacular Spider-Man. Arcade is the main bad guy there. Arcade apparently owns an actual arcade in this universe, and Jonah shows up and he gives Richard the birthday present. It's just a copy of his own book, I Never Lie, by J. Jonah Jameson. And he tells Richard about how, you know, nobody would publish me, so I'm self-published. And Richard's like, oh my god, dude, you made your own book? You wrote and published your own book? I love you. Jonah's like, hey, you know what? I actually wasn't gonna come, but I think your uncle's lonely ever since your aunt died, so, you know, I'm here. So Jonah and Ben are basically just covering for each other at this point, which is totally cool. And we get the birthday picture, and Jonah's like, and we cut back to the Kingpin's tower. He's talking to his one assistant. He's like, it's time for you to join the big team, the big games, the big time. It's time for you to join the big time. Do you know who my other associates are? And the dude runs through the list like, hey, you got, you know, Mr. Negative. Mr. Negative runs Queens. The Black Cat, who is actually Felicia Hardy's father in this version, Black Cat runs the Bronx, but he does it for fun. He's not really in it for the money. He's rich at this point. And we get a quick look at his daughter, who undoubtedly will become the Black Cat that we all know and love. And this little conversation is interrupted by Kraven, who is a billionaire oligarch excommunicated from Russia during the Rasputin Purge. The mutants were very clear. He's no longer welcome in the motherland. That right there is very telling. So the Russians are actually run by mutants. That's not just a thing I was speculating. That's for real. Which is crazy because it seems like Japan has the most mutants, but apparently Russia is just teeming with them. And then there's Mysterio, who runs Brooklyn. He shows up kind of unannounced, but you know, apparently these guys are used to that type of entrance. We go into King's, I don't know, library room? Whatever. And that's where we find the Mole Man, who doesn't come in through the doors like normal people. He digs his way into the chimney using his mole people. Long story short, Fisk is putting together his own Sinister Six to hunt down Spider-Man and the Green Goblin. And the Sinister Six is Mole Man, Mr. Negative, Kraven the Hunter, Mysterio, Black Cat. Is Kingpin number 6? Are you serious? Oh, fuck me. Yeah, Kingpin is number 6. Kingpin is number 6. And so now the Ultimate Universe has its Sinister Six. And next issue, apparently, Spidey's going to be going up against him, which is kind of crazy because this issue kind of promised that we would be going up against Iron Man, and that was not even remotely the case. Story-wise, I'm still going to give this 4, maybe 4.5 out of 5. Art, because this is Chichetto, I'm going to give this a +1, so that 4 becomes a 5. 5 out of 5. My only real complaint is that the cover is a lie. Iron Man and Spider-Man don't fight. Well, there you have it. And that's this week's hauls. Catch you next time, and yeah, have a good one. If you don't get caught. See you next Wednesday.